Hi horror family, how are ya? And welcome back to another Screaming for Horror video. I'm Rain, and I hope everyone is having a killer day. Kids usually tend to say the darnest things or ask some of the most unusual and silliest questions. Well, not in this case. When you think of kids, you think of playful little ones with crayons, and not kids that come up with creepy, disturbing sentences you don't ever expect to hear, especially from a toddler. I've looked around and I found 15 of the most frightening and sinister sentences kids have ever said to their parents, babysitters, or loved ones. So here are 15 disturbing things said by kids. But before we start, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more upcoming creepy and scary content. Let's begin. Number 1. My 5-year-old has stuck to the same story ever since he was 3. I remember my last mom and dad died, and you found me, remember? I was on the side of the road when you found me as a baby. I had a little sister too, but I killed her. Number 2. Mommy, can you cut someone's tongue off without killing them? Number 3. One time we were driving and we saw smoke and heard fire trucks heading towards it. I said out loud, "Wow, there must be a fire somewhere nearby." To which my son replied, "I still remember the day I died in that fire." Number 4. My 3-year-old daughter said to me one day, "You're the best mommy I've ever had." To which I replied, "I'm the only mommy you've ever had." Yeah, that's what the other mommy said too. Number 5. Mommy, that lady in the white car is okay. She didn't die. She had an angel with her. An hour later, I turned on the news and there was an article about a lady in a white Cadillac that drove off the Portland Bridge but swam to safety. She reported seeing a bright light that broke her window and urged her to swim. Emergency personnel said that the lady should have drowned. Number 6. I was babysitting my cousin one time and she decided she wanted to braid my hair. We were sitting in front of the mirror, but the whole time she kept looking at something over my shoulder in the reflection. There was nothing there, but after 10 minutes of non-stop looking, I asked her what she was looking at. The tall man behind us says he wants to play with you. Number 7. My daughter had an imaginary friend called Sally. She told me one time about how Sally was in jail for chopping her mom's head off. Number 8. My kid suffered from night terrors and would scream in her sleep. So a particular night, I decided to stay with her and I told her, "Mama's here. You're okay." She turned to me, still asleep, and said, "But Mama, who's that behind you?" Number 9. My mom told me when I was 3, I would stare into thin air, and one day she asked me, "What are you looking at?" "A girl, Mommy," I replied. My mother being a ghost believer, she asked me, "What does she look like?" "She's white, Mommy, then she's black, then she's white, then black again." My mom did some research, and apparently, a young girl died in a fire in the same house. She was burned alive. Number 10. Right before going to bed one night, my kettle started going off without a reason. My son, the following morning, wakes me up and tells me, "I'm sorry, Mommy. Alfie can be naughty sometimes, but he usually checks to see if you're asleep before he comes out and play." Number 11. When my daughter was 3, she had an imaginary friend named Victoria. She would do the usual things, play with her, talk, etc. But right before we were getting ready to move, my daughter told me, "Victoria wants to know why she can't come." I followed along and told her that she needed to stay here to play with new kids. My daughter then looks at me and tells me, "Victoria wants to know if she's not going because she's ugly and has a hole in her forehead." I froze in terror. Number 12. When we were getting ready to move to another country, my son was very sad. He told me he was going to miss everyone, but most of all, he was going to miss George. George? Is that a new friend from school? No. He's the man that crawls out from under my bed at night. Number 13. I was babysitting my niece one time, and my sister has a big house with a big window that leads to the back patio. At that time, there was nothing but trees and wilderness before they started to build the new houses. My niece got closer to the window and just stared at it without moving a muscle. I asked her to come play with me, which she turned around very slowly and then tells me, "Do you see them? Do you see them, Maggie?" "See who, honey?" "The people. The people hanging from the trees." Number 14. After kissing my husband in front of my daughter, suddenly out of nowhere, she looks at us and says, "Karina says to stop kissing him. She's going to kill you if you don't stop. She says Daddy belongs to her." Stunned, my husband and I looked at each other while our daughter walked away. My husband's ex died 3 weeks prior to this. Her name was Karina. Number 15. My mom told me this story when I got older, but when I was a kid, we went to this old mansion where they were having some sort of estate sale. There was a lot of items up for sale, and while my mother was browsing on one side, she told me to sit down in a particular area. Right next to me, there was a table full of crystal stuff, and a lady just told me, "Be careful with them, because they were my favorites." My mom comes up to me and asks me who I was talking to. I told her I was talking to a lady, and she had told me to be careful with the items. On our way out, a person in charge on the sale escorted us out. I stopped and I looked at a painting on the wall, and I told my mom, "Look, that was the lady I was talking to." The lady in charge told my mother it was impossible, since the lady had passed away, and that was the reason the sale was being held. Has your kid ever said anything creepy that stopped you dead in your tracks? Well, if they have, or if you've had a ghostly experience, a close encounter, or want to share any photos or videos of strange phenomena, feel free to send us an email at screamingforhorror@gmail.com, and your story could be featured in one of our videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Subscribe and follow us on our Facebook page for more. And remember, until next time, sweet screams.